Friday of the 9th week, year B. Today's reading from Tobit chapter 11, verses 15 to 17. Reunion and healing. The author returns to chapter 10, verses 7, and talks about Anna, who despite her gloomy protest is still watching the road for Tobiah's return. She is her blind husband's eyes and informs him that your son is coming. Raphael's instruction build narrative tension. The wording, he will see the light, in verse 7, suggests a word play. For Tobias is the light of my eyes. Anna's expression in chapter 10, verse 5, Anna's readiness to die recalls the motive in chapter 4, verses 4, with a touch of pathos, is depicted as stumbling out to meet his son. The healing has a magical or miraculous element. Fish gall, bile, works where the physician had failed. But plot is of importance. The physician's failure allowed Tobit to recover his money, Sarah to be healed, and Tobias to find his destined wife. And this is the situation that is depicted in the book of Tobit. Our pains, our suffering, our misfortunes are not meant to break us. They are meant to bring good tidings if we remain in God and if we ask God to open our spiritual eyes to see where He is leading us. Look at what heals Tobit. Fish gall is one of the most poisonous substances of the time. I think a fish gall has component of dissolvable or component that can dissolve in water of what do you call this? It's running away. The sodium cypryl sulfate. That if you drank that, you will have kidney failure or renal failure, an eventual death. Probably this could have been the poison that Sarah was contemplating to take. But that same poison that you think you'll use to kill you, that suffering that you think is going to put you down, is the same thing that God will use to lift you up. He will use your suffering to show you the way. Look again. Because of the failure of the physician, doctors, Tobit was able to recover his money. Nobody stole from him. Not even the hospitals, as they would do sometimes today. What if somebody dies? You pay, then you are treated. What if you die before you are treated? Do they refund the money? So Tobit did not lose that money. Sarah was healed because he did not drink that gall that was kept to bring life to Tobias, like Jesus' death brought life to us. And Tobias to find his destined wife. Gall here would represent the bitter passion of Christ, something that is death that brings life. Contradiction? No. Life in God's doing. Doxology is in order. Praise is in order. As when Sarah was healed, the motive will be expanded in chapter 12 to 13. The interpretation of Tobit's experience as scourging and mercy will also recur into that chapter 13 verse 1 to 2. That Tobit sees his son has doubled meaning, connoting both the son's return and Tobit's recovery of his sight. The scene has some interesting parallels and resonances. The parents meet their new daughter, Sarah. With this scene, another theme is resolved. Tobit meets the wife he had hoped. Tobias would find. You see, Tobit wished that his son Tobias would meet a wife that is in God's destiny. A good wife is given from God. And you never know who God has planned for you. Gomer, the prostitute, was kept for Hosea to give birth in order to communicate to the children of Israel. Tobias' wife was a killer wife. Everybody who came to her died. Well, that was what God has kept for Tobias. Of course, he praises God on his way to meet her. Yet he was fearful. Let us not forget that. The people's astonishment is a motive that will be typical of the latter miracles stories in the Gospels. Tobit chapter 11 verses 17 again emphasizes the family. Family is a great component that you cannot overlook in the Bible and in every human society. The rejoicing of the people gives the scene the character of communal festival, as in Esther chapter 8 verses 16 to 17. Reference to the Jews, if original to the text, is odd in document about a northern Israelite family. On Ahika and Nadab, so when we talk about family, sometimes we talk about family in a way that we ourselves cannot even relate to another. How family is taken in one part is not the same way family is taken in another. And therefore, we are supposed to take God for who He is for us. Mark chapter 12, our gospel today, verses 35 to 37. Some of the questions that Jesus' opponent put to him were unimportant, even senseless. He now put to them the really important question: what was their view of the Messiah? Jews understood the Messiah to be the son, descendant of David, but thought of him almost solely as a political figure who would rule Israel in a golden age, depicting that of David, when David reorganized Israel and became the strongest of the kingdoms. Jesus wanted to show that this view was inadequate. The Messiah was far more than the son of David. We also want some, even at our times, when our countries are undergoing political turmoil, we pray that God will give us a redeemer to redeem us from the political turmoil. But God has other plans for us, bigger than the political turmoil that we can withstand and overcome. Jesus referred his hearers to Psalm 110, a psalm that Jews of his time regarded as messianic. The psalm had been written 1,000 years earlier to be sung by the temple singer in praise of King David after they conquered Jerusalem and established his throne there. But the person who wrote the words was David himself, and as Jesus pointed out, they were written under the inspiration of the Spirit in praise of Messiah. This means that the opening words of the psalm where the temple singers expressed homage to David by calling him my Lord, were the same words by which David expressed homage to the Messiah who everyone knew was David's descendant, was also David's Lord. The Messiah was not only an earthly figure but also a divine figure. So let us believe in God as a divine figure, not an earthly solver of problems. God bless you.